Salam, dear brothers and sisters. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for all the people who make yourself available on this Sunday afternoon, which is a family day time. So basically, it is. We were thinking for last 2 weeks how we are going to manage our life. Many people, many challenges. Many people. It is like a actively in the front liner, volunteering so many ways, kind of things. But the thing it is, being in a Seva organizations, we always on the move. But this particular coronavirus made us not able to go out and to, do whatever Seva. When we are unable to service, yet we were thinking it is a lot of means and methods of how to assisting from the dry ration, from cooking and supplying the food to the houses, from making sandwiches and sending, making the face shield, making masks, and few other, assistance we have done so far. The numbers not important. We are just looking at the intention, and everybody have a decent meal and happy in their life. Okay, so we are fortunate. We are able to have all this. At the same time, we are in a society of caring and also prepared to share whatever the little which is we have. And in that context, so what we have done it is we also thought about it, how to bring this Seva to the next level to be relevant at this point of time where we are bound with movement of control. There is a possibility movement of control will be removed on the 9th. But there is a possibility also the second wave of that coronavirus to come there because of free movement. At this point of time, we are not sure. However it is, we are preparing ourselves to continue our life. Whether we like it or not, we have to continue our life. There was one book by the Darwin's. It says, the toughest will survive. So we have to be tough. We have to prepare for all the means. For that purposes, we need to do what we can do more than other people are doing. There are a couple of questions was asked previously. So if I were to share something here, right, previously was asked how we can help these people for jobs kind of things. So if let's say you go to the Telegram, you just look at the Telegram, there are so much of job opportunities are available. All you just have to click there, and when you click, let me share the file. So if you see, you just have to put it is Jabatan Kosong, vacancy, job, whatever the keyword you put it on the search in the Telegram, and it's many job opportunities are available, and it is daily updating. The new positions are available. So how we are now, we know there is a need. There's a lot of people, millions of people are looking for a job. At the same time, companies are looking, probably thousands of companies are looking for this job, but we don't know where is where, and we don't know who is to contact. So with this, telegrams, the informations, what need to be done, it is all this digitalized, and then you have to connect this. For that intention, with this collaboration with this Sunil and his contact, we had brought two esteemed panels here to share how we can help the people in need now. Without much ado, I would like to welcome Brother Sunil take on from here to more benefit all of you. All right, Sunil?
Thank you very much, Mohanane. Om Sai Ram, my dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining us. I think Mohanane has set the context very beautifully that, in the last 2 months alone, there is more than 700,000 people who have lost their jobs. There is more than 400,000 graduates who will be coming out, okay, who have not found their jobs till now. So that's the kind of numbers that you're looking at. And you know what? The numbers are not going to go down anytime soon. We are looking at a further increase, and you're expecting at least about 2 million people in Malaysia to lose their jobs. And these figures can be verified by Arvind and Sugunah, our HR experts who have been so kind to join us, right? it is going to be so heartbreaking, right, to see more and more people going home to their own mother, father, family members and crying because they have lost their job. So I believe there must be something sincerely that we all can do to help them. It's not about how high profile kind of a job they get or how low paying job they get. As long as they can have enough to put food on the table of the families, that is most important for now, right? Career progression, more salary, more bonuses is of course a dream come true. But for now, we should aim to empower everybody and as many people as we can to actually put food on the table, pay their bills, and do not get into the situation of having to get money from Along and all that. That is one thing that has been really alarming and concerning us. So together with Talent Corp, right, an agency where Sugunah was once, heading a huge big division there, right, I'm doing a lot of work with a group of coaches around the country where we have trained them up and they are now helping, and linking the industry as well as the people who needs the support. So same thing we felt that would be very useful if you all can do. So to give you a big picture, what's going to happen is we're going to have, Sugunah and Arvind share their thoughts with us and respond to a lot of your questions, your curiosities and all that for the next 1 hour. After that, we will be discussing very quickly on how can we take this forward, because this is just the stepping stone and the starting point. So without further ado, I would love to sort of introduce to all of you the two HR leaders and very, 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 very supportive HR people that I've known in the community. And they were so kind to be here with us on a Sunday to share with all of us what's the current situation like, how can we help the people, what are the best practices in CV writing and all that. So let us take all these tips. I would encourage you to have a notepad, pen down some thoughts, because we all have gone for probably 1,000 Zoom meetings in the last 2 months. I am not sure how many people have got, a notebook where you're taking down key points, but I would like to really urge you for this session to take down some important points that can be useful for you to now share with other people and translate that knowledge to others. So to, invite the first speaker, right? Her name is Ms. Sugunah Verumandy, right? Currently a human resource director at Dairy Farm, right? So big, what do you call brands like, for example, Giant and Guardian and all that, everyone reports to her, right? Prior to Dairy Farm, as part of her passion in national service, she led the internship, industry partnership and Malaysia professional team in Talent Corp, like I mentioned just now, right? An agency within the Ministry of Human Resources. She has been the HR director for General Electric, Power Malaysia Asia Pacific, corporate HR director for GE Malaysia and Brunei, and she is known in Malaysia as one of the most influential HR leaders, right? So I will be sharing her CV or a brief about her on the chat box so you can read the details, right? But that's Sugunah who has been gracious to join us, and we have got Arvind, who is someone who is very, very well known in the space of recruitment, because right now you need to know what are the recruiters looking for, right? And in the recruitment space, right, Arvind is a senior manager for talent acquisition for British Telekom. He's overseeing the full hiring for Asia, Middle East, and Africa region, and has a remit of managing close to 10 countries. British Telecom is one of the oldest world telco companies that has been operating in 180 countries. You could probably never get a better, combination of expertise. A great HR leader and influencer in Malaysia, and one of the senior recruitment persons, right, for such a big region. So to Sugunah and Arvind, thank you very, very much on behalf of all of us for being here with us on a Sunday afternoon and sharing your knowledge, expertise, which now will be useful in helping other people, right? So without further ado, I would like to pass the session on to Sugunah and Arvind.
Sairam, everyone, brothers and sisters. First of all, Sunil, thank you very much for having me and Arvind. I think the other fun fact is Arvind and I know each other for a very, very long time. We are very close friends. So we've got a lot of history behind us, and it's great to partner with Arvind today. I think the most important message that I wanted to get across before Arvind and I share a little bit more is actually Arvind and I would like to extend our deepest appreciation to each and every one of you, because Sunil shared with us that that each and every one of you are going to take on this additional responsibility in helping others, right? Because as we all can imagine, this particular pandemic situation is certainly affecting each and every one of us in a very different way, right? And for people like you who are going beyond that to help others, it's you know that there's no any other act that can give that best fulfillment like what each and every one of you are doing. So honestly, for me and Arvind, you know, when Sunil contacted us, we were like, you know, this is the best thing we can do for each and every one of you who are going, you know, beyond your regular tasks to help others. So honestly, we are the one who should be thanking you for having us today and being part of your journey. So with that, I will quickly take you through, because we have got kind of an hour. Arvind and I will be kind of powering together with you. There are a couple of questions that Sunil has put together and shared. So we will probably take you through those questions first. And subsequent to that, we will take a pause, because I think what's more exciting is to be more interactive, to answer questions that you may have as you become the volunteers in empowering others, right? So we rather spend more time taking questions and very quickly take you through some key information that may be useful for you. So, so basically, I think there are three set of questions that Sunil has put forth for us to kind of take you through. One is around how do we prepare effective resumes? Two, how do we help people to be more prepared in succeeding in getting through interviews? And thirdly, I kind of added a little, and third is around the recent shift, right? A lot of interviews are done either through online, your Zooms, your Meets and whatever not, and also through phone calls. So Sunil had asked us to share a little bit of tips on that. But last but not least, we have also put a couple of questions together where there are some shifts that's happening in the market. And we felt that it's very important for us to share with you the shift, because it's time that people need to make some adaptation as well, be a bit more flexible in navigating through this uncertainty. So we have kind of added a couple of thoughts around that. And subsequent to that, we will take a pause and take questions from you. Yeah, is that okay, Sunil?
Wonderful.
All right, great. So what I'll do is, I think the first two slides, Arvind will take you all through. We will attempt to answer the questions first. But of course, later we will kind of take you through the broader shifts. Arvind, over to you.
Can you hear me, Sugunah?
Very well.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I echo what Sugunah has said. It's good to be here on a Sunday. Irrespective, it's always good to speak to people during these challenging times, to share knowledge and to also give people, I would say, a bit of both, a bit of motivation and a little bit of hope. It is a challenging time for each and every one of us right now in different ways that we're all managing this very unique situation that the world is going through. But my message to everyone is that we will get through this. We will come out stronger out of it. And every day that we pass this particular pandemic that we're going through, every day is a battle that you have already won. So when you wake up tomorrow, feel more proud of the day before, because every day is a battle that you are winning when you go through this pandemic. So when I was posed this question to come today and to give a little bit of insights and to give a little bit of a talk about the recruitment space, a little bit about the job market, a little bit about what we can do to really prepare and give ourselves the edge. I was thinking, how do I make this as impactful for each of y'all? Now, preparing an impactful resume in 2020 is very different to how resumes were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Just even take 3 years ago. Resumes 3 years ago are very, very different from resumes today. Okay. So in 2020, and I will share with y'all a couple of samples that Sugunah will help open up those photos a bit later. But to share with you in 2020, the most important thing that you need to think about as a resume is keep it simple, keep it brief, and bullet points which show your strengths. Always put yourselves in the shoe of a recruiter. Like for example, myself, when we post one position, we would get an average between 200 to 250 resumes or applicants. At times, it can be even more than that. When a resume is brief, it is simple, you will catch the attention of myself or you will catch the attention of the recruiter because it's easy. It's easy for us to look at, and really recruiters in 2020 are not going to spend time looking at more than 4 to 5 pages and such because there's just so many people out there looking for jobs. So my first advice to everyone is keep it simple, keep it brief. My second advice is there's prior to 2020, a lot of times people write their objective. They write for a job. They write about what stage they are in their career. Right now, summary statements are more powerful. And I will show you an example. A summary statement basically says what your summary is, what your strengths are, and why you are a suitable candidate for the job. Okay? So always remember summary statement over objective. All right? The third thing is to spotlight key skills. Now, key skills are the reason why I say pick up by artificial intelligence is because right now with recruitment, even though the recruiter at the end of the day is reading the resume, before the recruiter is reading the resume, there is already a system in place. And think of the part where the system is the artificial intelligence. The system will pick up keywords and they will tell the recruiter whether that candidate has those keywords. So it's very important for you to spotlight key skills. And I will show you also how it's there because systems right now are going through many, many resumes and they will stop progressing the resumes which do not have those key skills. So it's very important that you put your key skills. Okay. The fourth is volunteer work and additional activities. In this generation that we're in right now, while it's important that we look at the person's job, it's important that we look at their experience. Another very important part for a recruiter like myself is we want to look at that individual. We want to look at what work that person has done outside his job. If it's volunteering work, like for example, anything with Sai Baba, anything with charities, anything with helping the homeless, anything like that. When you put a few sentences of the volunteer work and the additional activities that you do, it will help the recruiter know the individual. So nowadays, most jobs you can train people, but the behavior of someone is quite tough to train. It takes years to develop the behavior and the competencies. So my advice is always put a couple of lines of your volunteer work and the additional activities that you do. Now, when it comes to job sites in Malaysia, job sites there's been an evolution of job sites. And the reason why I put Job Street as the fourth one is because Job Street is quite outdated in the way that the system is. It was a pioneer at the time, no doubt. But right now, you can still find jobs in Job Street, but there are other avenues for you to look at. The first two I would say are very strong, Indeed and Glassdoor. Now, I'll speak about Glassdoor first. So Glassdoor is a platform for you. Let's just say you would like to apply for a job with Johnson & Johnson. If you were to go on Glassdoor and you were to look at Johnson & Johnson, not only will you find out about the jobs in Johnson & Johnson, you will also have the opportunity to find out feedback of the company. So people who have worked in Johnson & Johnson will write what are some of the good things, a good culture, a good work-life balance, a good package, good management. You will find that there. These are actual people that have worked at Johnson & Johnson. So Glassdoor is another space that I would suggest you to spend a bit of time with. And Indeed is a very strong platform, because what Indeed does compared to JobStreet and MyStartJobs or JobsDB is that Indeed is a strong enough platform to pick up applicants from each of these databases and put it into one, and each of the jobs. So my recommendation is that while you can still look for jobs in JobStreet, in MyStartJobs, back in the day you used to find jobs in the Star newspaper. I don't think people spend that much time looking at the Star newspaper much these days, because everyone is on the internet. But spend a bit of more time with Indeed and Glassdoor. You will notice that there is a difference, okay? So if there's no questions on the resume writing piece, I'd like to share with you all a couple of samples. Firstly, I picked up two samples. One is Harvard's definition of a good resume, and the second one will be how I will share with you the spotlighting of the key skills. The third point there, which is very important in your resume these days. So Sugunah, if you don't mind, could you open maybe the Harvard sample one first?
Sure. Let me just go over to that file, yeah?
No problem. Thank you.
Here you go, Arvind.
Okay, thank you. So now Harvard sample of a resume, and granted some of this information is overseas information, it's not local Malaysian information, but the context and what I said earlier, it is there. Firstly, it's a one pager. Very simple, one pager. Your name, your details, your education, a couple of lines of where you've studied, the years, and then your professional experience. Professional experience is important for you to put a couple of lines of what you've done in that job. I would suggest you to do, besides putting a couple of your responsibilities, put a bit of an achievement. Put one or two achievements that you have done. Like for example, this person worked in Enterprise D Mexico as a marketing and sales director. And he shows that he has led the marketing and sales teams. He has improved the customer service. He's expanded the operations to more countries. Put a couple of achievements at the bottom. Has he done some process improvement? Has he saved the company money? Has he won awards? Maybe this individual, Nadia, she might have won a marketing award representing Enterprise D Mexico. So always put an achievement at the bottom, because the achievement will show that you have gone above your job. So back in the day, we just used to put responsibilities. The interviewer will ask you your responsibilities, and then the interviewer might ask you, what have you done as an achievement? Nowadays, there's no more time for that already, because there's so many candidates. We talked about this earlier. You must catch the attention of the recruiter immediately. You must make your resume impressive, that the recruiter will say, okay, this person has got an achievement and has gone above and beyond. Okay, so I like the Harvard sample, but I would just suggest put a couple of achievements within the jobs that you have worked in. Okay, and then at the bottom, if you see, that person has done some volunteer work. He's a coordinator for an entrepreneur program, marketing advisor for a fair trade project. So volunteer experience will be different in every country, right? But feel free to share your volunteer experience at the bottom. So if you notice, the resume is simple, it is powerful, because it's got a nice flow to it. Education, experience, volunteer, your details. Now, I know some of you might have the question on the call, and this is an opinion, there's no right or wrong. Some people will ask, do you put your salary? Do you put what you're currently on and what you're expecting? That is our formats for many years ago is that you put your current and you would put your expected. Yes, very true. But nowadays you will find candidates who are not putting it, because there's a certain value to yourself which you want that recruiter to say, I'm interested in this candidate, I want to find out more. So I would suggest, as you go for more senior positions, you go for more high-level positions, refrain from putting your current and your expected. Show your value first as a candidate. That's very important. Okay, so that's the Harvard sample. I have picked up another sample when it comes to the key skills that I spoke about, the artificial intelligence, which is very important. Okay, so this is a very good resume from a perspective of John Doe as a business development or a salesperson. Again, you notice it's a one pager. Oops, think it. Yeah, okay, one pager. If you notice, there is a bit of work experience, education. Now, you see on the right, you see that the section under skills. Now, this person has got public speaking, negotiation, outbound marketing, sales and marketing, social media advertising. Now, social media is a big thing these days. So I give you an example that John Doe has applied for a job with a sales company, and the sales company is looking for someone on social media. The system will pick out everyone who's got sales social media, and they will say this profile the recruiter should look at, because systems are so intelligent these days. So it's very important for you to list down your skills and match it to the job, so that the system will not stop your application. So this is the part where I mentioned about artificial intelligence, which all the recruitment systems that we use have, they all have artificial intelligence. So make sure that you're listing down your skills in order of priority, so that and then, for example, there's more volunteer work here. There's some honors and awards, which is an achievement, and there's some language also. So again, both resumes, simple, powerful, but gives you a very good feel of the candidate. These are type of resumes which recruiters love, because we have everything in one page. We know whether the candidate fits the job or not. Okay, so there's a couple of samples of resumes I picked up, which is really the way that resumes are being written in 2020. Okay, if you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, just go back. There you go.
I think there's one more behind. Yeah, yes, okay. That one just now. No, forward. Yes, okay. So my second part of today is how do you prepare and you succeed in interviews? Now you have your resume. Your resume, the business, the hiring manager or the company has said, we are interested in interviewing you. Now you must prepare for that interview. So my first advice to everyone, which is so important these days, is make sure you research the industry and you research the company that you are going to be interviewed for. Find out about that company's competitors, find out about their products, find out about their way forward. Previously, the company will share with you their areas, but nowadays companies want to hear from you. They want to know that you have taken the time and you understand the company. So make sure you do your research. It's a proven fact that in the first 5 minutes already, the recruiter will be able to tell whether it's going to be a good interview or not. We can tell within the first 5 minutes whether this is going to be a good interview. After 5 minutes, we spend more time getting to know you and finding out. So your first 5 minutes is so important in the interview. Make sure you go in with enthusiasm, you're positive, show good energy, good body language, very, very important, okay? Your selling points and reasons for the job. At the end of the day, when you're going for the interview, you are trying to justify why you are suitable for the job. So think about reasons why you're suitable for a particular job, okay? Achievements are most welcome. Like I mentioned, the resumes have your achievements, but be ready to speak about your achievements. They will ask you, what did you do? How did you do it? Why did you do it? And what were the results? So think about your achievements, because that will be how you can shine as a candidate. Okay. The fifth point is probably the most difficult point for all of us, the areas of development. Now, every job that we go for, there's no candidate that's 100% fit for the job. There's always going to be an area which you do not have that capability, or you do not have the capability yet. So be aware of your area of development. Like for example, if you're going for a sales manager position, and the sales manager position requires you to manage 10 people, you have only managed 2 or 3 people before. You're managing a bigger team. That is going to be an area of development for you. So you must firstly acknowledge what that area of development is, And then you must tell the business or tell the hiring manager what you can do to get to that level, because there is never 100% candidate fit for a job, never. Okay. um, Very important for you to prepare questions for the interviewer. Please have questions ready, because when you have questions ready, it shows that you are engaged, you are interested. An interview is a two-way process. Never ever think that it's a one-way process of them interviewing you. You are also assessing whether this opportunity and this company is suitable for your career. So make sure you prepare your questions, ask career growth, ask what's the culture, ask them also what is your ideal profile, what do you feel is the best profile for this job. They will appreciate it, and they will feel that you are taking a lot of effort to making sure that you are a fit for this job. Close on a positive note. Once you're done with all that, thank the person for the time, tell them that you look forward to hearing from them, be professional, and then you end the interview. And my final advice to everyone is doing interviewing for about 15, 16 years now. Always practice, because at the end of the day, you are every interview is different, every situation is different. The more you practice, the more comfortable you get, the more you can handle different situations. Practice with your friends, practice in the mirror. If you feel like you're shy and you don't want to do it with friends, it's okay. Do it alone with the mirror. Practice with your friends if you're comfortable, with your family, get some different opinions. But practice is so important for an interview. So that's my tips to prepare and succeed in interviews. I hope that will be helpful, along with the resume samples and what is important in 2020 resume writing. Yes, thank you. I look forward to any. But yeah, it was good sharing, and I look forward to hearing from you. Suguna, over to you.
Fantastic, Arvind. Thank you very much. I can't emphasize how much is the practice is very, very important, guys. And I must say that I recently just accepted another offer with another company. And by sharing that, I hope it gives many of the people that you're going to talk to a lot of hope, because a lot of people are very, very concerned, and they're saying, hey, is it possible to get a job? I was in a call yesterday, and when I mentioned that, hey, I've just resigned from my company and I'm moving to another organization, and the person was like, what, you can get a job now? So I said, yeah, why not, right? I mean, and I'll share a little bit more later, because while yes, many companies are reorganizing, and a lot of retrenchment are taking place, many others are growing as well, right? And I'll take you through a little bit of some of the industries that's growing. And I recently just took on a role. I went for the interview, and what Arvind mentioned is absolutely spot on. Even though I've been in the role of HR for many years, and I interview a lot of people, but when I went for the interview, I did practice. I was sitting in the Grab and I was rehearsing. What are the selling points? What are the achievements? What are my development areas? What am I passionate about? And it is quite strange, right? A person that's close to 28 years of working experience in HR, but at the end of the day, I'm an applicant myself, right? So very spot on, practice. So Sunil, if you can just flip through the next slide. I think
I'm just wondering, if we could probably take one or two questions with regards to the interview and this one first, and then we go on to the industry bit of it.
That's beautiful. I think,
right.
Yeah, let's pause for Arvind to...
Correct. At least in that way, we also get the engagement going with the crowd. I don't want, because it's Sunday, some might have had some nice, awesome biryani and they may probably go to sleep.
And we guys keep it very casual, I must say, I've had many recruiters in my life, and I must say you are having one of the best in the country. Arvind is like one of my favorite recruiters. Please make use of asking all these questions.
All right. So there is one question that was sent to me privately that reads this, What would be an ideal time to move to a different company at this moment when things are not stable? the risk can be higher, especially in academics. So this particular person is soon to be a doctor and is a lecturer in one of the private universities. And she has been excited to explore the possibilities of moving jobs. And that's where her question is coming. Would it be ideal to take the risk now? But I think, maybe I'll allow Brother Arvind to share his thoughts first. Arvind?
Arvind is muted.
Oh, okay, wait, hang on, sorry. Unmute. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Can you hear me now? Okay, good. All right, no, I was trying to unmute myself, but I think you as the organizer, you can mute me. So,
Sure.
good question. And I think this question quite resonates with the personal experience that Sugunah is going through right now. So she'll be able to share a little bit as well. This is a question that comes a lot at this moment because we are in times right now where it's quite unprecedented what's happening around the world. Okay. Right now, it's safe to say that Malaysia as a country and the industries that we are all in right now are slowly going through, while damage has been done, and a lot of companies feel that the cuts or could be further challenges. If there are companies that are hiring, that are actively hiring, more often than not, if it's a reputable company. Now, I'm not sure of this, the person who asked the question, the doctor or the place that they're going through, as long as it's a reputable firm, the firm would have done its budgeting, it would have done its overall costing of post-COVID. So I think these opportunities are quite rare. So my advice to this person is that if the firm is reputable and the job is coming across as quite stable, they are able to share what their plans are for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and it sounds convincing. I don't think it's too big of a risk because companies right now, some companies are starting to recover. Now, I'll share an example like what you mentioned. I manage hiring across about 10 different countries. Right now, for me, I'm starting to see some growth, like for example, in Australia. In Australia, I'm hiring security people, I'm hiring cybersecurity people. The cybersecurity industry is starting to pick up. So they're starting to hire people who have got cybersecurity experience. So I'm seeing certain industries pick up. So if this industry is asking for hiring and it's a reputable firm and they've got concrete plans for the next 6, 12, 18 months, I think it's an exciting opportunity. And I don't think it's anything that this person should be too concerned about. So my advice would be go for that opportunity, explore more. And I think it should work out because the company would have done its overall risk assessment of post-COVID already. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That would have been my response. Like there are a lot of people that I'm aware of within the HR space, within the senior roles that is actually moving around and they are still able to secure jobs. So don't be fearful, but be very mindful about which organization is. It's an organization that has got, good stability or not. Is it a decent job? It is something that you're going to be happy with, then take the risk. Behind every dark cloud, there is a silver lining. Remember that. So while the world might be having problems, you may spot an opportunity and Swami might be giving you an opportunity. So the second question here is from a brother who says, I have been jobless since the first oil and gas economy downturn in 2014 and I have not been working since then and been driving Grab. Where should I start applying for a job? Maybe Arvind, you can take this question and guide us.
It depends. I mean, I'd be quite interested to know for this person within oil and gas, what was that person's role?
He was a senior position
senior
in
post
Sapura
with
Kencana,
Sapura
project
Kencana.
engineer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What this person needs to do is this person needs to firstly be in contact. While the job sites I've given are there, can be helpful, but I will give this person an added advice is that this person needs to be aware of recruitment agencies where you've got recruitment people who are expertise within project engineering and oil and gas. So first step this person needs to do is look out for a Hayes, look out for a Robert Walters, look out for an Ambition Malaysia. These are some of the 3 or 4 big firms. Find out within those firms who are the people who are specializing in engineering and who are the people who are specializing in oil and gas. I have personally seen and I personally come across some of them who specialize in oil and gas. These individuals will have contacts with the oil and gas companies. It could be the big oil and gas companies or it could be the smaller players. And I think this person wouldn't have Logan wouldn't have too much of an issue because everyone was aware of the downturn that oil and gas had a couple of years ago. And a lot of people left oil and gas, went on to another industry, did a little bit of other work, and then now have started coming back. So my advice is, while that the job sets that I gave are helpful, my further advice is find out from these agencies who are in oil and gas and engineering, speak to them. They will have the opportunities with the clients and build that relationship with them. That will be my main advice to this person.
Thank you very much. Right. So we took about 2-3 questions.
Okay.
If there are any other questions, we can quickly go on to it, or else let us now continue with the next part of the session, and over to you, Sugunah.
Thank you, Sunil. So I think the next part of our sharing is, I think one of the questions we were asked is, with the recent changes where social distancing became a norm, people were not going for interviews, and every interviews were being done either through phone or otherwise, you know, your Zooms or your Greets or your Skypes, whatever not, right? So are there any etiquettes that candidate needs to be aware of? And the answer is yes. There are a couple of things that's very, very different. I think this is one of the major shifts that has happened in the world of recruitment amidst COVID-19. So it's a very busy slide here, but I'll just summarize it in 2 key points. When you are attending online or phone interviews, there are 2 things that matters. One is you and your interaction with the recruiter, and 2 is your environment, the surrounding that you're in. So let me take the first part, your interaction with the recruiter. So the key difference here is that if you're going on a call, they can only hear your voice, right? And you're going on a Zoom call, they can hear your voice and they probably can see you shoulder and above, right? So what it means is that the attention and the focus is very much on your conversation and your gestures, right? The body language that you're showing, that's where it's going to be a lot of impact and attention. Therefore, there are certain things that you need to be very clear in order to help you get through the conversation. So let me give you a little bit more tips here. One is, and I think the most important one is ready your mental state. It's very, very important, guys. So especially these days, you're staying at home, you're working from home, and then when you're about to just pick a call, you would have just probably had a conversation, or a little argument, or whatever not, right? Your mental state is very important, and getting into an interview right after a challenging moment can be very tough. I personally have asked candidates to take a break when they're talking to me, when I know that something else is disturbing them, right? I've personally told, hey, are you okay? And, I think let's reschedule. I give the space to the candidate. But not many recruiters do that, yeah? Not many recruiters, when you come in a call and they know that you're not mentally ready, that they will give you the space. They will just like, oh, candidate is not prepared, and they shut you down, right? So I think this is a very important point. You need to be aware that have that space, mentally be prepared, because when you get into the conversation, you must be able to surrender yourself to the conversation and just for a moment, let go whatever other things that's bugging you. And this is especially very, very evident. It can be picked up by recruiters when you're having a telephone conversation or otherwise a Zoom call. They somehow can pick it up. In fact, they pick it up much better because it's a very attentive conversation that's going on, right? So I recently had one of my friends, she's one of the top HR person in the country as well. And she went for an interview, and I was very surprised why she didn't secure the job. And we were just chatting with her, and in that conversation, what we realized is that she actually rushed into that meeting right after finishing her COVID preparation for her leadership team. So there was a lot of questions, and a lot of uncertain things were going on. So she was in that mode, and right after that, she had to run for the interview, and mentally she was not ready. And I must tell you guys, like, she's really one of the top in the country, right? So why I'm sharing this with you is that to say that be ready to speak. Make sure you take a bit of gap time between whatever that you have been doing and before you getting into the conversation. Have that free moment, free your mind. Being very mindful is very important. And I know the Sai Baba Center, you guys do a great job here. I think all that you do in calming yourself and being mindful is very, very important in an interview session. Speak clearly, of course, limit your movements. For example, telephone conversations, please don't take it when you're driving. I've had candidates who they'll tell me that, oh, it's okay, I'm on speaker, hands-free, I can talk. Number one, it's not good for your safety. Number two, you're not able to focus. You're not going to be able to bring the best in you. So always limit your movements. Don't walk around. If you're sitting in a Zoom call, just sit straight. Pay attention. Don't move too much, because all that little interferences will disrupt your flow of your idea and bringing the best in you. So that's about you and the recruiter. And remember, it's about you getting the message across the recruiter. So that's very, very important. Answer the questions like what Arvind mentioned earlier, yeah? But I think the second one, which has become very, very important these days, is the environment that you're in. Because in the past, you go to the company for the interview, they have a proper interview room, you sit there, it's between you and your recruiter. But today that's not happening, right? You're probably taking a call in your house, and probably in a condo or an apartment with maybe 3-4 other people sitting around you. So it's a very, very different environment, right? So to me, the environment today makes a lot of difference in bringing the best in you. And the little tips I can give here is that, number one, make sure you allocate a private space, right? It's very, very important, because you need to focus in that conversation. And like what Arvind says, the first 5 minutes it's your moment of making an impression. If you mess it up, it's going to be very, very difficult. Guys, typically recruiters, the 5-10 minutes, we can tell you if you're the candidate. We can already tell you. I'm so sorry. If we prolong longer, it's just to make you, we don't want to offend you, right? So it's that first 5-10 minutes, pay that attention. So the space you are in is very, very important, right? So create that space and without any noise, disturbances. So I can empathize with people who are probably, sharing a home with the siblings, or, you have many people around you. We all can understand that as employers, right? And one way you can manage that is set alerts to say, hey, no disturb. If you go into your room, put a sign or whatever. Like, I have this personal thing where I will normally go and tell my daughter or my helper, I'll say, hey, I'm going to get into a call, or I'm going to get into having an interview. Please don't call out for me. I'll come down when I'm ready. So I always make sure I tell that to my daughter or my helper, because I want that focused attention with my candidates as well, right? So make sure that you set reminders for privacy. That's very important, guys. Number two, often forgotten, but very, very important, is your connectivity. Many people miss this. Always test your connectivity before your call. Now, I have had situations where candidates, when I tell them it's say 2 o'clock, when I dial in, that's when they're trying to download the link, and they'll tell me, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have Zoom. Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have Skype. Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have Greet, right? And you must understand, for some of the employers, they schedule interviews like what Arvind said. They got so many candidates to meet. They only have a certain hour or, to spend with you. And if it's 15 minutes taken to download the link, then that's it, right? All this little gesture shows that your attention, your interest for the job. So make sure you download the links ahead. Make sure you charge your cable, your batteries. You know, that's a very important fact as well, right? You know, have your cables near you, all, you know, everything powered up. That's why I say the movement walking around is not good, because it can disrupt, it can buffer, and you lose the best in you. So that's very important. And familiarize yourself with the tool, because different companies, guys, they use different online tool, right? Like Sunil is using Zoom. There are some that use Meet. Shell uses Skype. Dairy Farm uses Microsoft, yeah, WebEx. And then WebEx is another common one. Dairy Farm uses Microsoft MS Teams, right? So there are so many different tools. You don't have to know everything, but when they tell you that I'm going to contact you through Skype, make sure a day or two before that you go and practice it, because there are different buttons to it, right, in how you use it. So do familiarize yourself with the tools. That's very important. And a little bit of tips, you know, you still have to be dressed for your interviews, your shirt or whatever up is very important. You still need to look presentable. And I think there's some little tips people are talking about, you know, what Sunil has, the room there is a very nice room with little books at the back. You can have a plain one at the back. You know, so I mean, to me, that's not really key, but some interviewers are saying do that, because the attention has to be on you and not too much of things going on at the back. So that's a little bit of tips on online. It's about you and the conversation with the recruiter and the environment that you're in. It's very important. So I'm mindful of the time. Can I quickly run through the second one? So some useful tips for you guys. Now, you know, there's a major shift that's happening, right? As I mentioned. So here I'm just going to share some additional tips that you can help take through the people that you're going to bring some changes in their lives. Number one is target the industries that's hiring. I think Arvind mentioned that very clearly. There are some that's really picking up. I think logistics are picking up. In terms of health is picking up. In terms of technology services is picking up, like Lazada and all that. They're really hiring. We have common friends, Sunil and I, and Lazada is picking up. So there are certain industries that's picking up, but of course there are certain industries that's really shutting, or rather going on a very low key. We're talking about hospitality, right? In that sense, hotels, aviation, oil and gas. They are having tourism. They are having a significant impact. So I was talking to some of the like the CEO for aviation, one of the companies in Malaysia. And I said, do you even hire one or two positions, right? He said, no, right? He said, no, not at all. In fact, you know, there are some people who are going on unpaid leave and taking pay cuts and all that. So not at all. So focus on the companies that's hiring, target them, like, you know, so continuously look out which are the industries that's rebounding back, and that's where your attention needs to be. Number two is be open to making adjustments. So like in the past, right, we all have certain dreams, we all have certain visions. I only want to do this job. I only want to work for this company and all that, which are great things. It's always good to have plans and ambition. I think one of the things we probably need to be comfortable in making shift is some of this you may still continue pursuing it. And in many cases, you may want to say, hey, you know what? Yes, I had these dreams, but it's okay if I kind of pause that for a moment and do something else, right? And when the time comes, I'll get back to that, right? And I think a lot of people are making that shift. So some people say, I only want to work around my area. I don't want to drive up to KL and all that. But honestly, a lot of people are even willing to be open to move to Johor or places like Arvind was saying, some in Australia, if it's picking up. You know, some people are willing to make that adjustment for a temporary moment in terms of location or even role. I had my neighbor just 2 days ago. He's a pilot, and they have not been flying, as you know. and came and spoke to me and said, Sugunah, I'm very open to doing any other things because I don't know when I'm going to fly again. Right? And is there anything that I could do? Can you help me? Reach out to me. Can be just anything at all. I don't mind. Right? And these are pilots, right? So people are willing to make the adjustment. I think the type of role, unfortunately, Malaysia, we are all about permanent job, right? Because that's only when we can get our bank loans or housing loans or whatever. It's very bad, right? It's just the system in the country. But the fact is, many people are now open to doing what they call as the gig work, right? Where you do part-time, you can do job sharing, you just go and work a couple of hours and the balance of the hours, you do something for yourself. So the nature of job is also changing from being permanent to part-time or contract, or even becoming your own consultant as well, like Sunil is doing, right? So be more open to the type of contracts. Let's not get hung up about it only has to be a permanent job. You know, there's really a big shift in terms of gig economy in many parts of the world, and people are really enjoying it as well. I think one other tip I like to share with you is the pro bono opportunity. You know, sometimes you may not land a job yet, and that's fine. If there's opportunity to go and help test things. Yesterday, I was with a bunch of entrepreneurs just having calls, and a lot of them these days are just saying, hey, you know what? I don't have business coming in. I don't mind coming and doing free consultancy for you and all that. Right? And they keep themselves relevant. They are learning, but at the same time contributing, and you never know. Like Arvind, I hope he's still on the call. Arvind started doing pro bono with radio stations. But now he speaks in BFM, and I think he's definitely paid higher than his job, right? So you never know how sometimes volunteering to help can take you to next level. So be open to that. I'm a bit mindful with the time, Sunil, but I've got a couple of points to cover. Can we take another 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, we can, not to worry.
Okay, great. I think Arvind mentioned about this, right? Building your networks. You know, I always find that making connections, whether it's good time or bad times, it's very, very important. And you never know the connections you build today can be the connections that help you for future. Like I said, the job that I just got into, it wasn't through an application. It was all through friends, people that I know, people that I've worked with in the past. They are the one who always reach out to me. Never a job I applied, except maybe my second one. Oh no, that also was a headhunter. So all my job, honestly, it has been through my friends, you know, that kind of. So I must tell you that the power of networking, it may not be for today, guys, but please tell your friends, it can be for future, right? Always keep your options open. And I think the gentleman asked that question earlier, right? Is it a good time to look around? I think for me, always keep your options open, whether you're looking for a job or not. It's just getting to know people. You know, you go for an interview, you make 2-3 new friends, you get to know 2-3 new companies, and that's very, very powerful. You just expand your knowledge. So sometimes I tell people, hey, go for interview. Not because to get a job, but to get to know people, get to know other companies. You might learn 1 or 2 tricks from them. Now, this is another thing which I think is very, very important, right? Prepare a status log. For example, you know now that the markets are by and large down. Of course, some companies are ramping up. What it means is that you may have to put in 10, 20, 30 different applications, perhaps to secure one. It can happen, guys. It can happen. So it's very important you keep a log of the companies that you have applied for, who are the people that you have reached out to, and what's the status. It's very important because every 2 to 3 days, I would encourage you to pick up that log. You can write it down or keep it in your computer, whatever. So you know where is your status. And then when you call them, you know exactly what to say. Hey, you know what? I spoke to you last week on this date. Can I know the outcome? Or I sent this to you 3 weeks ago. This is the date for this job. Because you'll tend to forget, especially times like this where you're going to do maybe 20, 30 to get one, right? So have that log. and look at the pattern and data. Sometimes that itself, right, will give you an insight on whether you're still going to push for it or you're just going to drop it. You just cancel it, right? Just keep that log. So I typically encourage people to keep, when you apply, what was the last status and what's the prospect looking like, you know, and who did you speak to, right? Do that, keep that data, and you will be surprised how much of information you get out of it. And it's okay if the person doesn't get a job. If you make a good, if you are able to build that relation with the relationship with the recruiter like Arvind and all, you can always ask question, hey, how can you give me 1 or 2 tips in terms of how can I prepare myself better for other interviews? And you know, when you have good relationship with interviewers, they will actually point out to you and say, hey, you know what, you did very well here, and maybe these are the areas you need to brush up. So feel free to get feedback from people. Okay. I think one other information I wanted to share is that I think Arvind has given all the right platforms. I think in Malaysia, keep a watch out on this. Yeah, I think MDEC has started some form of support for people to look for jobs. You know, and then I know that just about 2 weeks ago, I was in a call with a bunch of people from Ministry of Finance and agencies. They are actually coming up with oh gosh, what do I call it? It's a platform, put it that way, where they want to have Malaysians come together in terms of putting in their profiles to look for a job. And this is a special effort because of our current pandemic situation. They're just building it. I don't think it's ready. But the fact is there are little groups that are coming up now. So keep a watch because it keeps changing and the landscape is being built on top. So I know LinkedIn is working on something as well for outplacement. All this will be rolled out very soon. So get your people to keep a watch because like I say, it's an evolving thing. Support groups are coming up. I think maybe 1, 2 other thing is that one, keep yourself relevant. I think the gentleman asked the question, oil and gas. You know, I know oil and gas. I've got a bunch of friends in oil and gas. More restructuring is definitely expected. Let's accept that. And I think this is a great moment to try different industries as well. I mean, we are all experts in some industry, but I think it's also exciting moments to try something new. And this is the best moment to do it, guys, to learn new things, right? You can see that there's never been any time where companies are coming with free courses. PwC is offering free digital course for public. LinkedIn has so many free courses. Harvard Business Review, I went in that day, so many digital courses, you know, so many. And people like you and I, like I'm like digitally illiterate, but I can even go in and learn some tips. So what's important is continue learning, be flexible and open. Moving into other industries is perfectly fine. And you can always come back to your passion when the time is right. So look out for a lot of free courses and there are a lot of support groups. I think one thing that you guys can do is when you're speaking to your members who are looking out for a job, ask them to aim for the low-lying fruits first. For example, if they're being let go, talk to their HR because a lot of companies these days have the career transition services where they provide career coaches as well. And they need to leverage the career coaches. Tell them don't feel shy or you know, like, hey, why am I speaking to career coach? Is that something wrong with it? That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. Career coaches are the best people to bring the aha moment in you, right? So spend time with them. A lot of companies these days, when they're doing outplacement, they're also offering career transition services. Tell your members to leverage because the whole idea is not just getting them a fish, but teaching them to fish, right? And that's how you need to prepare them. Last but not least, side hustles. I think a lot of people these days are open to doing 2 jobs. You know, one job like whatever you're paid for, but many are looking for doing side hustles, pursuing their passion, whether it's cooking or, you know, doing something very different. So side hustles, becoming an entrepreneur in some ways is also kind of growing. I see a lot of people, I see my good friends, officers and all that, actually suddenly say, hey, I want to get into baking, you know. I've been reflecting myself and I think that I'm quite happy with what I have. Success means something different for me today. And all I want to do is just baking, right? So, and I think being a Grab driver, it's a job. It's not jobless, it's job, right? So, so all these side hustles are wonderful. So I think I'll stop there. It's a lot of information. I'll take a pause for questions.
All right. Thank you very much. Very, very useful tips. And the one thing I just want to add on to what you mentioned, you have written here, but I think the emphasis could be more on this, is on LinkedIn. Brothers and sisters, I think even I have been actually wasting a lot of my time on Facebook, only to then recognize if I would have spent that same amount of time on LinkedIn, I would have been a whole different person and probably living a different level of life, right? Because LinkedIn is where the world's, you know, HR people are, recruiters are and all that. So how you build your profile on LinkedIn is going to actually give you a lot of door opening opportunities. So do look out and go and spend more time on building your LinkedIn profile. Now, just because I'm talking on that, let me sort of share with you what will be happening moving forward. Yeah. For those of you who believe that there is an opportunity where you want to help and you want to serve, Brother Mohana and the team is going to be arranging 5 nights of 2 hours learning module where you will learn on how to do career coaching, on how to help people discover their strengths, how to help people, you know, build their online presence and all that kind of different kind of topics. And this is going to be like a certification program under our Satyasai Academy of Human Values. But that means in return, you will need to make sure you do a certain amount of seva programs and all that to help other people. It's a concept of pay it forward. We empower you with the skills and the knowledge, and you will now then take it and go and help people on the ground. So one of the speakers is actually an expert who has volunteered to help and actually teach all of us on how to build our online presence, especially LinkedIn. She's an expert in LinkedIn. She in fact has been top 100 LinkedIn, influencers for the past 2-3 years, right? So she's going to be willing to come and share, and we have already made all this kind of arrangements. So I think use LinkedIn as a very powerful networking tool. Now, there's one question that was sent to me privately about, you know, Ane, how about those people who are in the final year and those who are graduating? You can actually go to my Facebook. I think the various speaking engagements that I did, the whole long 1 hour, 1.5 hour keynotes are all there. But in 3 summary points, I will tell you. Number 1, do as much social work, service, and help as many people as you can, because like what Uncle Jega, Suresh Anne, and all our leaders and Swami himself has been telling us, the Yoga Shema effect will kick in. When you help others, God will take care of you. So all those volunteerism work, like Arvind mentioned, can also be put in your CV. And you'll be surprised how recruiters will be so happy to have the conversation about everything that you have experienced in your volunteerism work, because that will talk about all the different soft skills that you can never learn through any form of certification. Your basic leadership skills, your people communication skills, people management skills, how to handle difficulties, how to handle challenges, how to handle stakeholders, how to write letters to, you know, get funding, all the things that you will learn outside the university's curriculum is what's going to help you get a job. And that's how I landed on my multiple job offers when I graduated, right? So that's point number 1. Point number 2, I've often told this in many of the talks and in speaking engagements, I challenge young people to actually go out there and volunteer yourself to show your value. The key here is to go up to a HR leader like Ms. Sugunah and say, hi, Ms. Sugunah, my name is so-and-so. This is my CV. I am really excited and eager to work for your new organization. I wish I can announce the name, but I won't, I promise. Okay.
Yes,
all right.
After that can announce.
Sure. Right. And you know what? ma'am, I know you don't know me, but I am willing to work as your intern for absolutely free so you can see my value. And then you can consider whether you are not. So you have two choices. One, to sit at home and do absolutely nothing, just wasting time and life, sitting and venting and crying about, oh my God, I got no job, what to do, what to do, what to do. Or another one is to proactively reach out to all these recruiters and say, hey, you are looking for people to be hired with a salary. I'm willing to offer myself 3 months free. You don't have to pay me. Give me the experience. At the end of the day, if they don't hire you, you still walk away with one thing: experience, which can now be spoken about in a new opportunity that you go for employment. So the key number 2, right, is going to be value. What is the value you create? And please do not do this mistake of always focusing on how much can you make. The moment you ask the first, initial part of the conversation, so how much are you going to pay? I can almost tell you as a recruiter myself, okay, I will shut off. Right? We want to know what value you can bring to the organization. And if you can show your value, people will be open to speaking about the dollar sign. But there are a lot of people, right? I've probably in the last 60 days interviewed close to about 50 people, for jobs, right? Immediately within the first 20 minutes of conversation, before even understanding what sort of opportunities there are, they will come and talk about, okay, sir, we would like to know how much is the salary you can offer? Where is your company located and how much money you can pay me? Immediately, I'll say, thank you very much. I wish you all the best in getting your next job offer.
So
Right?
I'll add to that. It's a good question on the graduate, right?
Yeah.
You made a very good point on go and do it for free, 3 months internship. I'll give you a real life example. So my daughter, Yovina, she just turned 18. So of course she got no class to go and all that. She's just staying at home and that's very tormenting. So 2 things. She was helping some of her friends to do some of their assignments because she was so bored. So she was doing their assignments, she was helping here and there, and soon enough I was seeing Grab Food was sending food for her every day. And I was telling her, why are you getting Grab Food every day? She said, I don't know, Ma, whenever I help my friends to do their assignment, they're sending Grab Food over for me as a token of appreciation. So she has been having free food for at least 2 weeks, right? Because she was helping people. And then guess what? Then after that, she said, Amma, I'm so bored. I want to help. So Arvind knows her very well. She's into wrestling. In fact, Arvind got her into wrestling. So she was building this website for the Malaysian professional wrestlers. And the website turned out pretty nice. And so one of my neighbors saw her, kind of got to know that she's building this website. And he runs business. And he said, can she come and help? I got clients because a lot of people are trying to advertise these days, right, through online, and they need a lot of help. And he said, can your daughter come and do? I'll just pay a fee for her. And of course, graduates are cheaper, right, in that sense. So, and in fact, she's not even a graduate. She's only 18. She's just doing her foundation. So she just secured a conversation with this guy to help people just do their website for a small fee, right? So for the graduates out there, it's all about how flexible and agile they are and using their passion and converting that to something that, can sometimes bring them food or money, right? In that sense. So I was just sharing, these are life examples, real life examples.
Yep. Right. So do we have any other questions, brothers and sisters, that we can ask our panel?
I think there's one question. What's your advice about getting into the trust and insurance industry?
Yep. So maybe you and Arvind can share your thoughts on this, because I know a lot of this MLM guys and insurance guys and unit trust guys are going and poaching people at this point of time, like, you got nothing to do, come faster, take the job, kind of thing. So
so I'm not with the unit trust insurance industry, but I must say that for me, it's one of the most important thing in life is making sure that your family is protected. I think of it that way, right? Not many people think that way. They're always like, oh, you know, why are you talking about insurance and all that? But my personal belief is that families need to be protected. And one best way to protect is having the security of insurances and, you know, making sure that you're investing to the future as well. So I believe in it. I'm not sure Arvind probably can give his view. I do. And I always encourage people to try different things. I never stopped intense. So I always encourage people to try. And look, if it's wrong, you know, there's always a U-turn, right, when you drive. So the thing we always regret about is not doing anything and then like, geez, I should have done it. So I always encourage. And one other observation I have is that a lot of people are trying to get into this dual employment these days. That means you tend to have a little bit more security. You can be working for a company or whatever, but on the side, they are doing side hustles. And I notice a lot of people are getting into that insurance and all that as side hustles. And when that grows big, that become your main income, and you can slowly drop others as well. So people are testing out, taking some risk, but I notice people are taking a more calculated risk these days, like just don't drop it and run, right? They're kind of doing 2-3 things and then figuring it out from there. So that's a long way of answering your questions, but I hope that gives some insights to the question you have.
All right. We are glad to have with us our president of the Satyasai International Organizations, who had logged in earlier very silently. I didn't notice. Thank you, Monane, for highlighting. I would like to invite, you know, Sugunah to quickly share his thoughts and probably say a word of thanks to both our speakers for spending their time to share this, you know, valuable insights and knowledge for all of us. Sugunah.
Thank you, Sunil. Thanks a lot to the both speakers. One is Sugunah, the other one is Arvind.
Yep.
Am I right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Actually, it's good. I see that you all are focused on people with some basic education. You know, your job offers is mainly for all those with some basic education minimum, I think, at the level of Form 5 and above. Because Brother Mona was, the intention was also to look at the B40 group who have lost jobs. Maybe, you know, this kind of people. But I think this whole session will benefit the listeners here who are actually, most of them will be employed, you know, employed people are listening to it. That, like what Sunil said, you know, you go under coaching to help out other people who are looking for job, including our youth, you know, who are maybe choosy, maybe waiting for things to happen. So don't sit down, because any person, one of the first questions they ask, oh, you graduated, very good. What are you doing now? I'm doing nothing. I'm looking for a job. So immediately you create an impression that you are not forthcoming. But I hope, Brother Mona, you take into consideration the people at B40 who are looking for any type of jobs. And number two, our you know, there is this thought by the employers, you know, especially Malaysian employers, they have this feeling that, you know, very difficult, you know, the Malaysians, they give a lot of problem, they ask for many things, they do less work, you know, that kind of thing. So this is where, wherever we can, we should motivate our Malaysians who have lost job, who does not have job, not to be choosy. Besides being doing this pro bono job is very good idea, because once you become an intern, you go and help out other people, things might, you might see opportunity differently. But there are also people who are very choosy, you know, and I think we should not be shy to work anywhere instead of not working anywhere. And I tell you, something will open up, I believe. That is what I feel, because, you know, I'm also in the human resource side. That's how we look at people in TNB or anywhere else, you know. Thank you very much. Sairam.
Thank you, Sureshana. Sugunah, I taken your point. The focus group as well. It is motivating the people who have lost job, and as of now we have 47 people. These are 47 people. Some of you have already got job. Some of you may not have job. So it can benefit you as well. So what we plan now onwards it is, Sunil, do I share or will you sharing about it?
I can quickly brief that.
Okay, brief it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have spoken to Brother Murli, Professor Dr. Murli from our Satyasai Academy of Human Values. We will be having sometime soon, which means in the next 1.5 weeks or so, we will have 5 nights, right, where 2 hours satsang and workshops will be conducted to share with you 5 critical skill areas. Like I mentioned just now, how to, build your online presence and LinkedIn profiles and all that, how to host career conversations, how to help people discover their strengths. Even if it's a person who is a B40, right, we must be able to have a conversation with the person who is going through challenges in life and say, hey, Anne, you have been doing this in your life, you can actually convert this into an opportunity, okay, and convert that person's challenges into a possibility, which may be a social entrepreneurship, it could be a job employment, it could be a small little business, right? We can also help in that way, right? So there's a lot of things, whether it's a B40 or right up to, senior people who are losing their job, that skill sets that we are going to be sharing with you, it's going to be useful, right? So that will be happening over a 5-day period. And after that, like Mona mentioned just now in the group, we will be having a project team. It's not going to be something that you just attend, have fun, clap your hands, and then say, yeah, I got the certificate and put in your profile for your new job application. Yeah, it is more for you to go out there and help other people and serve other people, right? So as a requirement for the certification, you will be required to do maybe about 40 hours of coaching support or conversation support, and then you will have a log where you will actually log down your details. Only when you complete your log, then we can have, hopefully by then this MCO is over, we can, probably afford to bring you to the Sai Council, the Academy office. We will buy a curry pap and some mihun, and then we will have a small celebration for all of us. And we will like that graduate, because we have not only upskilled ourselves, but we've been able to add value to other people. And that's the intentions moving forward. Mona, did I miss out any other points on that whole program that you're working on? Tada kan?
Okay, so we covered very well. So basically, it's as Sugunah was mentioning also, we covered very well all the areas. 47 of you, it is probably about 40 of you, because of 3 have been panelists as well. It is a double login of mine. So it makes about 40 of us. So 40 of us, your only commitment, it's a criteria, is you help someone to get a job. So you are upskilling yourself, and then you also can invite somebody else to come. This is something, it is free of charge, getting from professional trainers, and also certified, and then you are paying back the community. Simple way. So brother, Rajesh Singhal from Bangsa will be the project leader for this. All the names will be compiled and materials will be shared. And with that, I'll end the session. Sunil, you can end the session. And then those people, all these people would like to take a group photo now. Sunil, take a group photo, all on your video. All on the video, group photos. So it's a proof of you are here. And then we will, then we will see. Okay. Quick.
Okay, Mona, your video is off.
Oh, okay. Okay, all the names, you can send it to us.
So for those of you who wants to be part of this whole thing, like I mentioned earlier, please get in touch with Brother Mohana, Brother Raja, or myself, so that we'll rope you in. Number 2 would be the people who are, not sure about it, who wants clarification, also can feel free to get in touch, and we'll be happy to share with you more exactly what we intend to do and how we intend to do this, right? So before we wrap up, just a couple of points. Number one, I think let us all, virtually put our hands together for Miss Sugunah, and let's convey our best wishes for her in her new role. She'll be leading one of the biggest organizations in the country. I wish I can reveal, but yes, I'll tell you all on Wednesday if you call me, okay? So we wish you all the best, and we pray that Swami guides you so that you can continue helping and empowering more lives as you keep doing this. Number two, thank you very much to Arvind. I know it's a Sunday, brother. I know it's a family day, but you took time. I really, really appreciate. So thank you very, very much. Right? And Sugunah, same to you. Thank you so much. Do you know, guys, you and I may think getting the speakers is a matter of just calling them and then they jump onto a call and just talk. But both the speakers actually spent about 4 hours yesterday discussing and brainstorming exactly what are they going to share with us. Right? So that is the kind of commitment we got and support we got from these wonderful souls that believe in our intention. Right? There's some people having some interesting conversations. I got to mute all of them first. Okay. All right. And finally is, please do join this initiative and let's try and help as many people as we can. We do not need to go and change the world. We don't have to help 2 million people. Even if we can just help to, now see, this is where, if you ask me, Sunil, can I join a multi-level marketing business at this point of time because I'm desperate for money? I will tell you, please don't, because I got cheated so much in life. But if you ask me, is multi-level marketing approach a powerful one in helping people? It is the best approach. Recently, when I was invited to speak to a crowd of 10,000 people in Bangkok, I actually told them that's the best strategy to help people. One person help 2 people, 2 people help another 2 people, 2 more people help another 2 more people, and like that you create a transformation in the world. So if we can just all of us put in a little bit of effort to help 2-3 people, like that we'll be able to create the ripple effects of positivity, support, and help for the world. So with that, let us continue doing Swami's work, and let's pray to Swami, because at the end of the day, you and I can plan, but he knows exactly how to guide us and push us through this whole thing. And like Arvind said just now, don't worry, we are in these challenging times together, but every challenge has opportunities. So look at it from an appreciative lens and see what opportunities can come by. Number one. Number two, let's look for how we can add value to other people's life and let the Yoga Shema effect, which Uncle Jega often speaks about, to do its magic for all of us. Thank you very much, and Om Sai Ram. Right? Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.